This is Padua, home of the world-famous Aperol Spritz, a birthplace of modern art and one of Italy's oldest and most breathtaking cities.
But where are the crowds? Why is this city of art and culture, home to some of the greatest artists and scientists in history, so overlooked by tourists?
Despite having one of Europe's largest squares, one of the biggest medieval halls on the planet, one of the oldest universities in the world, a breathtaking chapel that revolutionized art, and being just 30 minutes from Venice, almost no one talks about it.
I'm here to find out why, and by the end of this video, Padua will surprise you and might just earn a spot at the top of your must-visit list.
Let's start at the beating heart of Padua, its lively twin squares, Piazza della Erbe and Piazza della Frutta. As their names suggest, these have been the city's main trading grounds since Roman times. But you might be wondering about the curious medieval column standing in the middle of the square. It once supported market ends and served as the central reference point for organizing the stalls. Remarkably, even today, each morning these twin medieval squares bustle with an open-air food market. But they live a double life. By afternoon, the wooden stalls set on wheels are rolled away, making room for cafe tables from the surrounding bars and restaurants. The space transforms from a buzzing marketplace into a relaxed hub for coffee, aperitifs, and conversation.
But the most impressive structure on the square is a massive 13th century Palazzo della Ragione. It once served as Padua's town hall and courthouse. But what really makes it extraordinary is what's hidden above.
The upper floor houses one of Padua's most breathtaking spaces, Il Salone, or the Great Hall. This massive space will blow you away as it sits beneath the largest medieval roof in Europe that's unsupported by columns, an architectural miracle of its time shaped like an overturned ship's hull. This is one of the largest surviving medieval interiors in all of Europe. Originally built as a courthouse and a venue for public assemblies, the hall was once divided into 3 separate courtrooms. But after a fire in 1420, the inner walls were removed, revealing the awe-inspiring open space we see today. Its walls are covered with around 500 frescoes, forming one of Europe's most complex allegorical cycles. They depict the influence of the planets upon human affairs and human disputes, as the influence of the stars on human behavior was evaluated when the justice was administered. The upper section is divided into 12 panels, one for each month, blending astrological, religious, and moral symbolism. In total, the cycle includes 333 narrative scenes warping around the entire hall. The Great Hall is also home to plenty of curiosities, like the nearly 6-meter-tall wooden horse from the 1400s. It was most likely made for a parade or theatrical event, but it somehow ended up here where it's been standing ever since. And while the upper floor once served justice and spectacle, the ground floor still served its original purpose. With 2 intersecting corridors linking the 2 squares, it hosts the covered part of Padua's food market that has been in continuous operation for over 800 years. But if you find the frescoes inside the Great Hall impressive, just wait until you see the place often called the birthplace of modern art.
Just a short walk away is a public park where stands a simple-looking Scrovegni Chapel. But on its interior walls is a masterpiece that revolutionized art, marked the beginning of a new era, and forever changed the course of Western painting.
Today, the chapel is part of the Eremitani Museum, which also houses Roman artifacts and medieval to modern artworks from Padua's rich history. But the story of artistic revolution begins in the early 1300s, when a wealthy banker named Enrico Scrovegni bought the grounds of the ancient Roman arena, where he built a lavish palace complex with a private chapel. His father had made a vast fortune through usury, a practice strongly condemned by the Catholic Church. To redeem his father's soul, Enrico commissioned the chapel and hired the finest artists of the time. Among them was a Tuscan painter named Giotto, tasked with decorating its interior. But instead of creating just another fresco cycle, Giotto sparked a seismic shift in the history of Western art. He broke away from the flat, symbolic Byzantine style and painted people in extraordinary realism. People looked and felt real as we see them in their daily life, packed with emotions like grieving, loving, and reacting. This was for the first time that characters in a biblical scene looked like actual humans, not distant icons. Giotto's revolutionary approach is especially evident in the scene of the kiss between Joachim and Anna, the parents of the Virgin Mary. This moment is often considered the first painted kiss in the Western art. To enhance the realism, Giotto went a step further and introduced a sense of depth and three-dimensional space. His buildings and landscapes felt real, pulling the viewer into the scene. And then there's the storytelling, spread across 39 scenes arranged in 3 horizontal tiers, almost like reading a novel on the chapel walls. Just imagine that Giotto painted entire story sequences in a way that feels cinematic 200 years before Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. No wonder many of the great Renaissance artists came here for inspiration. And we're lucky the chapel still stands, as in the 1800s the palace complex was demolished, but the chapel was spared. To preserve this masterpiece, access is limited to a maximum of 25 visitors at a time, and visits are only possible by prior reservation. Each visit lasts 30 minutes, 15 in the waiting room where you see the film, and 15 inside the chapel itself. I'll leave the booking link in the description below. But the real reason Giotto came to Padua in the first place was to paint a cycle of frescoes in one of the most important pilgrimage sites in the Christian world, the Basilica of Saint Anthony. Saint Anthony of Padua was a Franciscan friar, preacher, and miracle worker. Born in Lisbon in 1195, he became famous for his brilliant sermons, deep humility, and devotion to the poor. Anthony died here in Padua at just 35 years old, but his reputation for holiness has already spread across Europe. Only a year after his death, the church declared him a saint, and this basilica was built to house his remains. The basilica is a stunning blend of architectural styles, crowned with 8 domes and enriched by ornate chapels, sculptures, and sacred relics. Besides saints' remains, the interior houses beautiful artworks, although unfortunately Giotto's original frescoes have not survived. The centerpiece of interior is the saint's tomb that resides in a dedicated chapel framed by a splendid marble colonnade. This Renaissance masterpiece is adorned with 9 high-relief marble sculptures depicting scenes from the saint's life and miracles. Even today, thousands of pilgrims come each year to pray and touch St. Anthony's tomb, leaving behind handwritten notes, letters, and tokens of gratitude for prayers answered. On the opposite side of the church is the Gothic chapel of St. James, featuring remarkable frescoes reflecting the influence of Giotto's innovative approach, showing emotions and realism. Giotto's pioneering work in Padua left a profound impact, leading to the cities being adorned with numerous 14th century fresco cycles. These frescoes, found in 8 different buildings across Padua, are collectively organized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and you can visit them all with a single Padova Urbus Picta ticket. A series of beautiful cloisters open off from the basilica. This massive complex invites you to explore its peaceful corners and visit several exhibitions and museums dedicated to St. Anthony. Whether you come for the art, the history, or the faith, the Basilica of St. Anthony offers something truly unforgettable. But Padua isn't all palaces, chapels, and frescoes. It also has a long tradition of lively social life, and one of its most legendary meeting places is Caffè Pedrocchi. When this palace-like cafe opened in 1831, it was revolutionary. It was designed with no doors and was open day and night, 24/7 to everyone. The cafe quickly became a central hub for intellectuals, students, artists, and politicians, as its welcoming atmosphere symbolized freedom of thought and expression. Cafe's rich history and architectural elegance also reflect in its 3 main rooms on the ground floor, each adorned in one of the colors of the Italian flag: green, white, and red. Today, locals and visitors alike come for the atmosphere, the history, and the house specialty, Caffè Pedrocchi, a shot of espresso topped with a mint cream and cocoa powder. It might sound unusual, but trust me, it works. And speaking of drinks, Padua is also the birthplace of one of Italy's most iconic cocktails, the Aperol Spritz. A vibrant orange drink with a bittersweet taste served in a wine glass over ice with a slice of orange, it's become a true symbol of the Italian lifestyle.
It all started in 1919 when brothers Luigi and Silvio Barbieri created a bitter aperitif called Aperol right here in Padua. But the cocktail as we know it today didn't emerge until after World War II, when mixing Aperol with Prosecco, the sparkling white wine of Veneto, and a splash of soda water.
And when you get hungry for something truly local, look no further than Bigoli. Thick, rough-textured, long pasta similar to fat spaghetti. But instead of showing you just another restaurant, I thought I'd take you somewhere a bit more unusual. A fast food pasta spot where you can enjoy freshly made Bigoli on the go.
They offer several sauces to pair with it, and I've gone with duck ragu, anatra, one of two most traditional Bigoli pastas here in Padova. The other one is Bigoli in salsa, made with stewed onions and anchovies, traditionally eaten during Lent, the 40 days before Easter, when many avoided meat.
This iconic pasta from the Veneto region is traditionally made using a hand-cranked press, which gives it its signature coarse surface, perfect for soaking up rich, flavorful sauces.
Another great place to enjoy an Aperol Spritz or a Bigoli lunch is the charming Piazza dei Signori, a historic square lined with elegant architecture, historic cafes, restaurants and shops.
Dominating the piazza are two symmetrical palaces connected by the iconic medieval clock tower featuring one of the oldest astronomical clocks in Italy. It doesn't just show the time, it also tracks the phases of the moon and the position of the sun in the zodiac. In front of the tower rises a tall Roman column crowned with the lion of Saint Mark, the iconic symbol of the Venetian Republic. For nearly 400 years, Padua thrived under Venetian rule, and the lion still stands as a proud reminder of that era. On one side of the square stands the Loggia della Gran Guardia, an elegant Renaissance building from the 1500s. Its wide steps lead up to Grand Loggia that once hosted meetings of Padua's Great Council, an assembly of nobles and the city leaders who governed local politics. Today, Piazza della Signori remains one of the city's most vibrant gathering spots and the grand living room of Padua.
Besides the largest medieval hall, impressive churches, chapels that revolutionized art, historic cafes, and elegant squares, Padua is also home to one of the oldest universities in the world, founded in 1222. And this, Palazzo Bo, is its historic seat.
Courtyard is filled with hundreds of stone crests carved in honor of students from noble families across Europe that studied here. This is also where the first woman in the world earned a university degree in the 1600s. But if you want to explore the building, you have to attend a guided tour. Inside, you'll find grand staircases, marble columns, richly decorated ceilings, and historic lecture halls, places where some of the greatest minds in European history once walked. One of them was Galileo Galilei, one of the most influential scientists of all time. He proved that the Earth revolves around the Sun, a theory that sparked a major controversy in his day. Galileo taught here for nearly 2 decades, delivering lectures on astronomy, physics, and mathematics. You can still visit the very hall where he gave lectures and see his wooden lecture podium. One of the university's crown jewels is the world's oldest anatomical theater, built in the late 1500s. Its steep, circular wood panel design allowed students to observe dissections, a radical, even risky innovation at a time that marked the dawn of modern medical education.
About a 15-minute walk from Palazzo del Bo, the university also founded the first botanical garden in the world way back in 1545. Garden was created for the study and cultivation of medicinal plants.
It was part of the university's mission to unite nature and medicine at a time when plants made up most of the known remedies. Its original layout, a square inscribed within a circle, still survives today, and the garden has continued to expand across the centuries and is part of UNESCO World Heritage. The biodiversity garden, added in 2014, nearly doubled the space. Inside are futuristic greenhouses that simulate 5 major biomes from around the world, from humid tropical rainforests to arid deserts, all with sustainable, low-impact technology. Its most recent addition is the Botanical Museum, featuring rare plant specimens, historical herbarium collections, 19th century teaching charts, and interactive exhibits. Visitors can explore on their own with an audio guide or join one of the guided tours.
And we're still not done, because Padua has one more massive surprise. This is Prato della Valle, one of the largest and most unique squares in Europe.
Prato della Valle was designed to be green, open and welcoming. It feels like a public garden, a monument and a gathering place all at once. This vast, elliptical space surrounds a small central island called Isola Memia, named after Andrea Memo, the Venetian official who led its transformation in the late 1700s. Before that, this entire area was little more than a swamp. Today, the island is encircled by a narrow canal crossed by 4 bridges and ringed by a double row of statues, 78 in total, honoring Padua's greatest minds, scientists, scholars, warriors and artists. At one end, towering over the square, stands the Basilica of Santa Giustina, one of the largest churches in the Christian world, crowned with Renaissance domes and filled with centuries of sacred heritage. For Paduans, Prato della Valle isn't just a landmark, it's part of daily life. It's where people walk their dogs, meet friends, ride bikes, or sit on a bench with a gelato. Especially on weekends, the square comes alive with local markets, concerts, and open-air festivals. And sometimes, here you can find surprises like this lovely vintage MG rally I just happened to catch.
Yet there is still so much more to discover in Padua. From magnificent churches and the baptistry's stunning medieval frescoes to hidden gems like the Astronomical Museum tucked inside a medieval tower. Pilgrims visit the Basilica of St. Anthony and art lovers come for Giotto's Scrovegni Chapel, but most travelers skip it entirely. Padua remains massively underrated and overlooked. That's exactly why you can stroll through gorgeous piazzas, admire Renaissance masterpieces, and sip Aperol Spritz without elbowing through crowds, dodging tour groups, or falling for tourist traps. Padua gives you everything you love about Italy, just without the crowds. If you're visiting Venice, Padua is a no-brainer. It's only 30 minutes away by train. Let me know in the comments, have you heard of Padua before? And would you visit this hidden gem? And if you're planning a trip, check the description below or scan the QR code for tickets and experiences I mentioned. I'm Rock, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.